It goes without saying that the brakes are one of the most important parts of your car. You might be shocked to hear that your car doesn't always tell you when the brake system isn't working properly. This is particularly true if there is a leak in your brake system. The frightening thing about leaks is that, with a single pedal push, a minor leak can escalate into a major blowout. However, how can you determine whether there is a leak in your braking system and fix it? Here, we'll explain everything you need to know. It's the Car Problems YouTube channel. Subscribe and let's get started. Squishy brake pedal. You will always have a squishy brake pedal if there is air in the system. In addition to losing brake fluid each time you apply the brakes, a brake fluid leak causes you to inhale air each time you release the brake pedal. Don't ignore it and hope it goes away if you're applying the brakes and something doesn't feel right. Determine the cause and immediately make the required repairs. Poor braking performance. If you have a brake fluid leak, this may be the first thing you notice. You anticipate stopping after a specific distance when you apply the brakes. However, when there is a leak in your brake system, some of the pressure is escaping through the leak, preventing you from receiving the full amount of braking pressure. Additionally, air and moisture are entering the system, which is impairing your braking efficiency. All of this adds up to a dangerous situation where your car is unable to stop as you would like it to. No pressure in the brake pedal. You should feel something when you press the brake pedal. If it falls to the ground immediately, there is a problem. This could be caused by a number of things, but if it was working properly the last time you got in your car, you probably have a huge brake fluid leak. Do not operate your vehicle in any way. You don't currently have brakes if you don't feel any pressure when you press the brake pedal, which means you can't stop while you're driving. Brake warning light. The brake warning light should illuminate whenever there is a brake fluid leak, but unfortunately, this isn't always the case. When the brake fluid reservoir is too low, the brake warning light will illuminate. However, keep in mind that not all car models have this feature, and having a large leak will cause issues before the fluid runs low. You can't depend just on your brake warning light to keep you safe, because even minor brake fluid leaks can cause serious issues. Visible fluid leak. You do realize that fluid is going somewhere if your car has a leak? There is a visible leak somewhere if your brake fluid is leaking. The issue is that it's very difficult to locate brake fluid leaks. There isn't much brake fluid in the system to start with, and the fluid itself is primarily transparent. It's not like coolant or oil leaks, which you can usually find by just looking underneath your car. Usually you need to check for leaks in the brake fluid. If you discover one, you have a serious issue that requires immediate attention. How to diagnose a brake fluid leak. Visual inspection is the most effective method for identifying a brake fluid leak. The reservoir should be inspected first, followed by the other parts. Even though the brake fluid system is sealed, there isn't necessarily a problem if the reservoir's fluid level drops. This is due to the fact that the brake fluid level will decrease as the brake caliper's pistons expand. However, you should always have some brake fluid on hand, and this drop should be gradual. Therefore, one of the best ways to ensure that your car is leak-free is to keep an eye on the brake fluid level. You will have a better idea of what an abnormal drop looks like if you know how quickly the brake fluid should drop. The next best course of action is to visually inspect each and every brake component. This includes the calipers at each wheel as well as the master cylinder. Tracing all the brake lines may require jacking up your car, but it's worthwhile. You'll be able to spot any brake leaks. Before you start, just make sure your car is dry and give the brakes a few pumps. Costs to fix. Repairing a brake fluid leak typically costs $150 to $1,000. That's a big range, but that's because there are many different reasons why brake fluid can leak. For example, replacing a brake booster can cost anywhere from $600 to $800, whereas replacing a brake line can cost anywhere between $150 and $200. There isn't a single cause that is noticeably more prevalent than the others, which further complicates the situation. While other drivers may find that they need to replace the master cylinder more frequently, you may experience rusted brake lines more frequently if you dive in an area with a lot of salt on the road or near the coast where there is a lot of salt in the air. Lastly, you may or may not be able to rule out the labor costs because some jobs are easier to finish than others. For instance, the repair shop might have to make a new brake line if you need to replace it and can't find the original equipment manufacturer's replacement. Even if you possess the requisite knowledge, you probably lack the resources for this. Hope the information was helpful for you. If so, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel.